eISM just-in-time learning, sourcing strategy based on forecasted data. Forecasting provides information about the volume of requirements and when purchases are needed. The supply management professional must develop an appropriate buying strategy by deciding when and how much should be purchased. Supply management professionals can use spot buys, buy-to requirements, forward buying, or engage in speculative buying. Supply availability, pricing trends, inventory space and carrying costs, cash availability, and forecast accuracy are factors to consider when selecting a buying strategy. Spot buying is the practice of buying for immediate delivery, according to the 2014 ISM Glossary. It accounts for 40% of a company's total indirect spend, overseen by procurement, and 50% of the sourcing activities. Three characteristics usually exist: one-time buys or emergency buys, low-dollar, low-complexity buys, and unmanaged category buys. This is also a short-term strategy employed in markets where supply management professionals expect, based on price forecasts, to take advantage of decreasing prices with each successive purchase. This technique frequently is used to allow for natural variability in demand or need at any period of time, and cash flow constraints or goods that are perishable or subject to rapid technology change are other factors that might make this approach appropriate. This can be a risky strategy, making it difficult to get supply if capacity is highly utilized in the supply markets. Now, let's discuss a real-world example with Kevin at the ISM office and the Banford 6300 Charcoal Extreme Stove.
Imagine you opened a new restaurant that has been the hit of the city since you started cooking food on the Banford 6300 Charcoal Extreme Stove. You installed 3 stoves but cannot keep up with demand from the customers. You called the distributor who carries the Banford product line and discovered they have 1 unit in the warehouse, but additional units have a 3-month lead time from the Brazilian manufacturer. So you use spot buying to purchase a 4th unit to satisfy unforeseen variability. Life is good.
Thanks, Kevin. Advance purchases for use to cover a period of forecasted need are classified as buying to requirements. This practice is probably the most common because it ensures supply while avoiding excessive inventory carrying costs. Even in a just-in-time JIT environment, the supply management professional needs to look at future requirements. In a JIT system, materials are purchased, transported, and processed just in time for their use in a subsequent stage of the manufacturing process, per the 2014 ISM Glossary. When buying to requirements in a JIT environment, the supply management professional can purchase to cover a specific time period and have the supplier deliver on a JIT basis. Now, let's see how the restaurant business is doing with Kevin.
It has been 1 year since you opened the restaurant. Business has remained so strong that you decided to open 3 more restaurants in the city. Construction will begin on 1 restaurant at a time and will be staggered over the year. You will require 4 Banford 6300 Charcoal Extreme Stoves per quarter, starting in October. Demand for the stoves are growing and the lead time on each stove is now 5 months. So you now have a schedule that will allow you to buy requirements for the 12 stoves.
Great example, Kevin. When using forecasts to buy to requirements, organizations often will guarantee that suppliers will receive orders for a percentage of the forecasted requirements to maintain flexibility. This is because forecasts are estimates, and actual demand will likely differ from the forecast. Forecasts for closer time periods are generally more accurate than those that are for time periods that are further in the future. Forward buying is sourcing goods or services beyond actual forecasted need. Frequently, conditions such as potential supply constrictions or inflationary markets cause supply management professionals to lock in the price by buying more of a product than is forecasted. This practice protects the organization from shortages or delays the impact of rising prices. The trade-off is increased inventory carrying costs. Thus, to assess if forward buying is a cost-effective buying strategy, the trade-off between inventory carrying cost increases and the decreased risk of supply constriction or higher prices must be evaluated. Kevin, what's next for the Banford 6300 Charcoal Extreme Stove and the restaurant business?
As your restaurant expansion plan progresses, so does the regional economic growth. Several companies are relocating to the city based on recently passed tax incentives. Population growth now becomes a focus for local municipalities and is making weekly news headlines. You begin to wonder about increased demand within all of your restaurants. Each building has sufficient space to expand 25% with minimal financial investment. So, you decide to utilize forward buying to order an additional 4 Banford stoves and will store them in a local warehouse. Only time will tell.
Thanks, Kevin. Speculative buying, otherwise known as volume purchase agreements, refers to purchasing material in excess of current and future known requirements, with the intention of profiting from price movement and resale. According to the 2014 eISM glossary, these speculative goods may be the same as those purchased for consumption, but quantities purchased will be in excess of current or forecast future needs. The intent is to take advantage of forecast increases in price to profit from the resale of the goods. Kevin, how can speculative buying be used in the restaurant business?
You are having dinner with a former college roommate one night and the conversation about your business triggers a wild idea. The Banford 6300 seems to have been the driving force to your expansion. Due to unforeseen issues, the distributor you had been dealing with filed for bankruptcy and their closing date is scheduled for the end of the year. It may be a worthwhile venture to establish a distributorship business for the region and leverage the Banford brand for a market you believe have significant growth over the next 5 years. So you decide to create a business plan, leverage your restaurant profits and set up an LLC. Your speculative buying may become the next big success in your career.
Thanks, Kevin. Through the different sourcing strategies, you have the flexibility to match a needed business requirement. Each have advantages and disadvantages, but utilizing sound supply management practices will provide the unique opportunity to succeed within the variables you are facing.